That's been a lot of fun.
I was
Been doing a
working
lot
on
of
my
housework
actual
myself.
job, so
Say that again.
I said I was working on my actual job, not my hobby. So
Oh, I like the memorabilia. I should have gone up in my bonus room so I could have been enjoying the party. I like it back there, both you guys.
Yeah, I don't have much Pirate stuff behind me, although
It still looks good.
I do. I have a few signed balls next to me, so that works.
Nice. Yeah, that's all. That's all that matters.
I had to bring back the script too.
Yes, I like it.
You like that decision? You
Yeah,
like
I like it. Yeah, it's a good decision for you.
Is it? Okay, yeah, we're good. I use my PlayStation to keep up with the live comments, so just making sure that was good too.
Oh, good.
All right, you ready, Tyler?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Welcome to shoot. I messed up. Doesn't matter. Welcome to another episode of Around the 412. I'm Tyler. With me as always, Smitty, and we have a special guest this week. We are joined by former MLB catcher and current Pirates analyst Michael McKenry. What's up, Michael?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
It's our honor. And you know what's funny about Tyler stumbling out of the gate there? Last week, we had Steve Mears on, the Pens TV play-by-play guy, and I stumbled on the first question that we asked him. So this has just been a thing now for a couple weeks for us. We're gonna figure it out, though.
It's all right. It's just a little payback. That's all it is. It's a little payback.
We'll get it straightened out. But you know what's important? We just keep going through one take. That's all we get. All right.
Hey, everyone makes mistakes, you know? We're not perfect. So
True.
All good.
All right. So you know what? Tyler told me he had a couple questions and he wanted to try to find a way to fit those in there. But honestly, I think that we should start with the one because we want to talk about you. But you got to play with a guy that's very highly regarded in Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, he does not play here anymore. Tyler, why don't you ask him a question about one of his former teammates?
All right. So I was wondering, when you were here with the Pirates, you got to play with Andrew McCutchen, and that was during the prime of his career. And as a fan perspective, it was awesome to watch. But I just wanted to know, what was it like going to the ballpark every day and being around a guy like that when he was playing at the level that he was, and like what it brought to the team?
Me and Andrew got pretty close in my time in Pittsburgh. As good as a player as he was, the person he was even better. I mean, he was a good teammate. He's a good husband. He's a good father. He's a good friend. I mean, he's a guy that you want to look up to. So if you're a kid at home, he's an absolute gem for someone to look up to and emulate moving forward, going and trying to chase their dream to be in the MLB. But this guy was so impressive at times. I mean, the ability to hit the ball the other way out of the park the way he did on a consistent basis. I mean, a guy that was drafted known for his speed and athletic ability turned into a power guy, almost a 5-tool guy at times when he was showing off his arm. He just kind of blew my mind at times, especially that 2000. I know everybody talks about his MVP season in 2013, but 2012 was by far, in my opinion, his best season. I mean, he was just
I've said that on here, actually.
Unstoppable. Yeah, he was unstoppable for, I think it was like June, July, August, and even in September. I think he had like 380, 390. I think he was close to 400, and he was doing it with authority, not with speed, hitting balls in the gap and over the fence. I mean, just a special couple years with him in Pittsburgh.
Okay, so what was it like when what was your reaction to your trade to Pittsburgh? Because this is not a play. I mean, everybody knows the history with it, the losing seasons. You kind of came when that was still going on. What was your reaction when you got traded to Pittsburgh?
I kept an open mind. I didn't know. I mean, to be honest, you know, even playing in the minor leagues, I didn't face a lot of Pittsburgh Pirates organizations. I mean, when I was in low A, I faced one, but when we went to double A, different league, triple A, different league. So I didn't play against the Pirates. I didn't know a lot of guys, so to speak. So I was just kind of coming in with an open mind, but I did know from a little bit of what people told me, the grittiness, the hard nose, the work ethic of the city. And I was like, man, that's just like me. I'm going to love that part of it. And I did. I fell in love with the city. I feel like the city kind of embraced me because I had that attitude, and I'll forever be grateful. But I'll tell you a fun story about when I got traded. I was actually in the grocery store. I got traded and actually put back all my groceries. I'm in the minor leagues and I'm getting my groceries, actually rescan them through, take them back, put them back on the shelf, and bounce and head to Pittsburgh for the next day.
Wow.
But yeah, it's just that kind of wild thing. You never expect something like that to happen until it actually does.
Yeah. Now, did you look at Pittsburgh, like knowing the situation there is kind of like, maybe I'll get a bigger opportunity here? Was that how you were kind of taking it?
I was just taking it in stride. I knew that at the time I was coming in, I was going to play pretty much every day. I think 8 catchers ended up getting hurt that year.
Yeah.
I know that they had wanted me. They've been trying to trade for me for about 2 or 3 weeks. And luckily, they got a hold of me through with Boston, made a trade, and the rest was history. But, the opportunity that they gave me was kind of a springboard going into the next couple of years.
Right. What was your relationship like with manager Clint Hurdle?
It kind of a mixed bag. I mean, early on, I was a young buck in Colorado. I don't know if most people know this, but I have a lot of past with Clint Hurdle. I mean, when I was a rookie, my first camp was Hurdle. I didn't get to the big leagues with Hurdle, but I was in 3 big league camps with Hurdle. So I really knew him well. And he was a different manager in Colorado than he was in Pittsburgh. I feel like he had a ton of growth going into Pittsburgh. He became an even better leader, even better man. He fell in love with Jesus, which I think was really cool too. And he just kind of took a different direction in his time in Pittsburgh. So I had kind of 2 different guys. When I look back at how Hurdle was, I still talk to him. He's still a friend of mine. He's a guy I look up to. The way he's able to lead men, I think at times that got kind of taken advantage of in his own mind because he focused so hard on that maybe the team kind of went a different direction at times. But what he did for the town of Pittsburgh was really special.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. You had like kind of a whirlwind first couple months here when you came here. Your first big league home run against the Cubs. It's a pretty memorable one. So what was going through your mind when that happened?
Well, first off, I didn't know if I was ever going to hit a home run in the big leagues. I felt like it took me forever. I mean, a guy that was known for hitting for a little bit of power in the minor leagues, I just felt like I hit the top of the fence, at the bottom of the fence, just could not get one out. But that day in July when we're playing the Cubs, Marmol's in, throws me 2 really good sliders, get to 0-2, and then foul off about 7 of them, and then ended up hitting a homer in the left center gap, and PNC exploded. I mean, it just absolutely kind of ripped my head off with noise. I remember rounding the bases, feeling like I was floating. It didn't even feel like I was touching the ground, touch home plate, and then I get a standing ovation. Yeah. And then they want me to tip my cap. I mean, if you could draw up a perfect first home run, I think I had it, unless it was a World Series winner. I think that's the only way it could maybe be better. But, being able to embrace all the love and, passion that the city had all in one moment for my first home run. I mean, come on. You can't draw that up any better.
Right. Our friend Devin Stubbs is in the chat right now. He said he's a pretty good baseball player growing up. He said made a lot of all-star games watching this guy play the catcher position.
Appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate it.
No, but we should mention the anniversary of your of the trade to Pittsburgh is actually coming up 2 days from now. It'll be 9 years since the trade.
Oh, really? It was in June. I said July a minute ago. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow. How long ago? 9 years?
9 years ago, June 13th.
And I'm getting old. Jeez Louise.
It happens to be Smitty's birthday as well.
Yeah, my birthday's in 2 days, which is the day you were traded.
Nice. Well, happy early birthday.
Yeah, appreciate that. No, okay, so this is probably a tough thing to talk about. I mentioned the whirlwind that first couple months was. That play at the plate on a certain night in a certain city against a certain team in 2011. It's the 19th inning. You're playing the Atlanta Braves, who we know have the historical thing with the Pirates as well, going all the way back to that series in 1992.
Mm-hmm.
And that play at the plate happens. I mean, what's going through your mind right then, but also to expand on that once you get back in the clubhouse?
So, I mean, to be honest, I always, and I don't say this lightly, I always thought about my pitchers first. So the first thing that actually went through my mind was, man, Daniel McCutchen just got the loss in this game, and he was not even supposed to pitch. The guy had his turfs on for the game, complete day off, shut down. He stepped up when we went into extra innings, said, hey, I want the ball, took the ball. Literally, they told him not to go down the bullpen. He started walking down there anyways. And that's the type of guy you want on your team. So my first thought was, no, this can't happen. And I went right towards Jerry Mills when he made that call. And I look back, and I've ran through this play 9 billion times. And I had umpires tell me, hey, you should have really hit him hard to let him know you tagged. And I was like, that's not the way you play the game. And just all these different umpires with their different opinions. And here we are now in 2020. You can't block the plate, right? All these things are here. We have review now. So maybe it was a historical play in a bad situation, but it turned out some good things, I think, in the long run. It's making guys get the calls right more often. But, man, 19 innings, you lose. You're in first place in the division. And then I'll never forget, I just said this on another podcast. I literally went to Philadelphia after that and maybe had my worst series in the big leagues ever. I mean, ever. I felt like I had 3 holes in my bat. Not 1, but 3. I mean, I could not hit anything. Water, I mean, if I jumped out of a boat, I would have missed the water. It was unbelievable.
Okay, we actually got asked a question in here. So our friend Cody came in, and based off your nickname being the Fort, being a defensive-minded guy first, I have a feeling I know your answer, but what's a better feeling, throwing someone out at second or hitting a homer?
Oh, man. I'd honestly say it depends on the day. David Ross said something that I love is, as a backup catcher or a catcher in general, your main focus is to win the day. So first you think about winning an out, and then you think about winning that inning, and then you think about trying to win that game, but you just want to win the day. So how can I help the pitcher win that day? Some days it'd be throwing the guy out. Some days it'd be blocking, and sometimes it'd be the homer. So I'd say, depending on the situation, if I had a go-ahead homer to give my guy the win, no question that's the better feeling. But if my guy's struggling, I pick a guy off, or I block a ball and a guy tries to take off, I throw him out and get him out of a jam, no question that's better. But I will say this, no matter what, a shutout, no better feeling. If you can put up all zeros, pat your guy on the butt and call it a day, I don't care if you went 0 for 4, 4 for 4, that's the day you're looking for. Because you can't lose a game. You can't lose a game if the other team scores 0.
Right.
Just saying, right?
Right. Okay, so you spent some time with different organizations. What's the one thing that you think separates the Pirates from other organizations? Like, what stands out that they do differently?
The culture was
at that time, at least.
Yeah, I would even say now the culture is different. And I think small market teams have to do this, but they have a different type of team camaraderie. Maybe a little bit of Hurdle and Neil Huntington eras kind of shine that. But now with Shelton and the new coaching staff, I think you're going to see a culture of guys that love each other, but are also going to have a blast. I think these guys are going to play with a different type of energy. They're not going to be focused on mistakes. They're going to play without handcuffs, and they're going to have a lot to say in the division as the years progress. I think they're going to continue to get better. I think there's going to be some bumps in the road, but I think that culture that's created in a team aspect is something the Pirates are known for, not just now, but throughout their history. So I would say the culture was the one thing that's different. I think I ended up playing for 10 teams. So, the culture really stood out.
I didn't have this on here, but as you were talking, it kind of popped in my mind. I don't know how much time you spent so far with these guys, but, what is your first impression on, Derek Shelton and Ben Sherrington and Travis Williams, the new regime that we have here?
So Ben Sherrington actually was my assistant GM in Boston. Right, he was the guy that told me I got traded, him and Theo. So I do have a relationship with him. I know Donnie Kelly better than probably most of the guys. I didn't get to know the pitching coach too well during spring training, so I'm going to kind of weave my way in once baseball starts up and try to get some good conversations going and get to know these guys a little bit better. But I think it's a better fit with where the team is now than – I really think they nailed it. I don't think they could have picked a better guy that wants it and is a continued learner in life in Ben Sherrington. And you kind of go down, the line and think about Derek Shelton. This guy's literally been around the league forever. He's been a bench coach. He's done different things. He knows the game, and he's wanted to be a manager. He's got a drive that you don't normally see. You usually see a little bit of the swagger, but he's got a different type of drive, and he's humble about it. And I think him leading this pack is going to be a lot of fun. He's going to let guys go play. And I think that's the biggest thing we have to remember is, like, these guys got to go out. They have to make mistakes. They have to play where they feel like they have no weight on their shoulders. They can just go be themselves. If they can do that, I think they're going to be pretty impressive over time.
Yeah, I feel like Derek Shelton comes in and he offers like a nice blend of, you can't be like too friendly with your guys, but at the same time, you want to have a relationship with these guys. I think that he's like youthful enough and he's able to relate enough to these guys where he brings a nice blend.
Yeah, and he brought an incredible blend of coaches in. If you look at how he did that, like you have those guys, the coaches that maybe are a little bit more player oriented, really friendly. You also have those guys that are a little too serious at times, but you have a good mix that balances out a great coaching staff.
We got a question actually DM to us. I think this is the first time we've ever had this happen while we were live.
Oh, they slipped in.
Yeah. He said, ask him if he's ever been starstruck playing against somebody.
Yeah, I would say early on in my career, I have a picture. Chipper Jones is hitting. I'm behind the plate. Pudge is hitting. I'm behind the plate. Some of those like moments, you're like, "Hi, Mr. Rodriguez." You don't even know what to say. It's just, that's somebody I looked up to for a long time. One of the coolest things was when I was even younger. I really liked the Braves growing up. Grew up in Tennessee, so the Braves were my team. I didn't have anybody else to look at except the Cubs, and I wasn't going to cheer for the Cubs. So the Braves were my team at the time. Maddox, Glavine, all these guys. But the one guy I always looked up to was Javi Lopez, a hitting catcher. Man, I got my very first big league camp. He was my throwing partner. You talk about having a hard time not to like just let it go every single time to show him what I got. Man, it was just so cool to, be around somebody you looked up to for so long. I didn't realize how big he was too. The guy was 6'5". He was a huge human.
Right. Okay. So you spent 2011, 2012, 2013 with the Pirates. Those first 2 years, I mean, it looked like those were going to be the years that the Pirates broke that streak. That didn't happen. Was there something different in like 2013 where you guys realized like this isn't going to happen at the halfway point? I know in 13 you actually had the season-ending injury, but you were still on that team and remained with the the team throughout the rest of the year. But like, was there something different about that 13 team that just felt special?
I go back always and give credit to the 12 team. They created a atmosphere that was different. So we had in 11, the young guys came up. You had Alex Presley, you had Josh Harrison, you had Darno, you had all these young guys kind of molding into something, trying to figure it out. And then 2012, early on, we were playing unbelievable, and then we kind of fell off a little bit. A lot of the pitchers got hurt, and all these young guys, Jeff Locke, Morris, Hughes, Watson, all these guys started really kind of defining themselves in 12. And I think that's what really jumped us into 13 is guys created an identity for themselves, and we created identity for a team, and we almost had a chip on our shoulder. And then bringing in a guy like Russell Martin with pedigree, that's played in the big leagues a long time and could really do some damage behind the plate and at the plate, I think was, something that really kind of jump-started us. At first he had to get his bearings, and me and him like kind of hit it off right out of the gate and worked together. And I think that was the common thread throughout our team. Like we had a bullpen with Grilly and Melanson that were just the shark tank, if you remember. They got like this, and that's the key. And we kind of had these individual like teams within this huge team culture, whether it was infielders, pitchers, outfielders, and it made it really special.
So go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm curious about that 2013 team. So obviously, as an athlete, you're not gonna go into any game thinking that there's a chance you could lose. But like, as a fan perspective, that 2013 team, every single time we went to the ballpark, it was like we expected a win because that's how good you were. From your guys' perspective, did you just go into it like expecting to win as well? Because like you guys thought you were good, you were that good, or like you knew you were that good?
We knew that the one-run games were ours most of the time. And what I mean by that is, our bullpen was so good at that time. I mean, you gave a ball to an all-star in Melanson, you gave a ball to an all-star in Grilly. If you could get to the 7th inning and use, Watson and Hughes and some of those guys to kind of get through that, the starters' pressure off their shoulder just goes away. I mean, you're talking about them trying to go 5 or 6, and the guys in the bullpen wanted the ball every day. So it wasn't like it is now where, ooh, I threw 2 days in a row, I can't pitch today. No, these guys wanted the ball every day. They wanted to save, they wanted to hold, and they wanted to keep moving forward. So as an offense and as a team, we knew, hey, if we did our job right, we showed up every day with, tenacity to just make sure we some way just claw through this and get that ball to Melanson and Grilly, we were going to win. And that's how we won a bunch of games. I can't imagine looking back. I probably say we won 20 or 30 one-run games that year, maybe 2-run games. I mean, it was just –
it felt that way in 15 for the Pirates.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it all the time where
that
it felt like –
that was Pittsburgh Pirate baseball. Yeah, when I played you guys in 14 and 15, it was the exact same way.
Yeah, we felt like Smitty and I have said multiple times in those years, if you got to the 7th inning and you had the lead, you won. The Pirates were going to win.
No doubt.
So, the 13 season is really like the season for us because up until that point, we hadn't seen a winning season. Like we didn't even know if it was ever going to happen. We didn't know if it was possible. And then it all comes down to one game in October. And like for you, obviously being a player, but also as a fan of baseball, like October 1st, 2013, what was that night like?
Indescribable is the best way to put it. I mean, talk about showing out. I mean, it's just, I didn't think I would ever have a baseball memory better than my senior year. We're 48-1. We celebrated winning the state title with our soccer team. We just won the national title. And that moment was just embedded in, like, that's one of the coolest moments I've ever been a part of. And then obviously you get called to the big leagues, you have your first homer, you have all these different memories. But that night, man, it takes the cake and always will take the cake. I hope to see that again and again and again. Not once, not twice. I hope to see it a bunch. I mean, I'm in Pittsburgh. I'm a huge fan. I want that for the city so many more times over because that sporting event was just remarkable.
Well, when you said that about being obviously still in Pittsburgh and like being a fan too, I just recently found out that like Jason Grilly still goes to games every once in a while. Do you still ever talk to him?
I do. I talk to him every now and then. I'd say he's probably been to a handful of games. I probably run into him every single time he comes somehow or some way. I haven't talked to him recently, but we kept in touch for a little while. Because
he's recently gotten into music, and a girl that has a podcast on the same network as us had him on her show because she plays music, and he just randomly was at one of her shows, and she was like, he's like in the front row, and she's like, I have to ask, are you Jason Grilly? And they like hit it off, and ever since then, she's just been helping him with music, and they were like met up at a game or whatever. So yeah, I just recently found out that he's still around here and going to games. Yeah, he was always a free thinker. I mean, he had a marketing business while he was playing. He always was doing this or that. So, I mean, it doesn't surprise me he's into music. Right. Okay. Well, I mean, so now you look at what you're doing, and first off, how are you enjoying doing what you're doing? It was an awesome transition. I didn't know if I wanted to stop playing. This opportunity came about. They gave me a ton of grace, let me really try to figure out what I wanted to do. Still could have played, had some opportunities, but I felt like it was the right time, and I'm glad I made that decision. And the transition to be able to stay into baseball, but not be on the field and feel like I want to jump back out there, because that's my personality. I want to play, but this was the right moment. And my team at AT&T is off the charts. One of the best teams I've ever been a part of, and that includes all my playing days. So I feel like the decision I made was the right one, and I've enjoyed it. It's been very different for me, learning how to embrace the TV side and the journalism side and all the media and whatnot is different, but the baseball doesn't change.
Did you ever think while you were playing that maybe you would want to take that path? What were you going to ask that?
No, yeah, that's on him.
No, you didn't think so.
No. So here, I'll tell you a little bit of history with me. Grew up with 2 learning disabilities. I didn't speak in front of anybody until I was in high school. And wow. I hated it. Like, I would usually do something silly or goofy to try to combat the anxiety I felt because of the learning disabilities I had. And it wasn't until college, until I met my wife, who was an organizational communications major. She got me with this speech teacher that was absolutely outstanding, taught me how to kind of fight back tactically with all these problems. And then I just put myself in situations throughout my minor league and big league career where I'd have to go speak to youth or go speak at a church or whatever to just get better and better. So I never in a million years thought, hey, I'm going to be an analyst one day for Major League Baseball. No chance, no chance, no chance. But I'm glad I'm doing it, and it's been fun.
So that obviously wasn't like something you went to school for. We're studying, right? I mean that.
No, here's the thing is like, I think most of the time in media, people think about like who they want to be on air too much. I'm the same guy. If you meet me in the street, I'm going to be the same guy. If you meet me on the field or if you meet me on TV, I'm the same guy. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to be kind of high strung, high energy, a lot of passion. I'm going to be in tune to the game. You're going to see reaction out of me. So if I'm ever in the booth, it's going to be hard for me not to yell when something good happens and not be disappointed when something bad happens. I mean, that's just the way I roll. I mean, my life has always been that way. My personality has always been that way. And I always want to be transparent with my friends, family, and, you know, the people that actually watch me and the fans.
Yeah, I think, well, we appreciate that first off, because we preach about that on here as well. I mean, obviously we're on a much smaller scale, but we treat this the exact same way. And, you know, we're not here to like take shots at anybody, but we know for a fact that there are people out there that aren't the same way while they're on air. You know, they play a character. That's what's going to get the better ratings, more views, whatever it might be, whatever profession they're in, that obviously changes. But we can definitely appreciate the fact that, you know, what you see is what you get.
Yeah, no doubt. And I can already tell with you guys. I mean, you guys seem like great dudes.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
And you got some good beards.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
You got good fluff going. I like
I'm
it.
not shaving until we actually see like either a pitch being thrown in an actual baseball game, not the KBO, MLB.
Yeah, MLB, absolutely.
Or a puck go into the net from the Penguins. One of those two things needs to happen for me to shave. So,
all right, question: which one's first?
Penguins.
I would say it looks like it's going to be the Penguins.
Yeah.
You know, that's actually.
It shouldn't be, but it is going to be. Yes.
Believe us, if we talk about it every week. It's very frustrating.
Trust me, I know. I'm the same way.
Okay, so you were kind of like the role that you were in. You're obviously transitioning into something else right now, but being the pregame and postgame host, kind of taking over for Teak. Was he like a mentor for you at all there, or was it kind of just like, you know, he moved on, you stepped in, and there wasn't really much of a connection there?
Teak retired and was out.
Yeah,
he was gone. Which is great. I you know, people always say, how are you going to fill Teak's shoes? And I say, I don't wear the same size. Yeah. I never will. I mean, he's a big human being. So, you know, the people that have helped me there, you know, Stan Saverin, Rob King, and, you know, the people I spent a lot of time with are the editors. I really, really enjoy trying to teach, you know, whether it be, you know, pitch design, tunneling, you know, spin rate, whatever is going on in the game. I want to be able to teach the fans and let them kind of embrace, you know, the little, you know, odysseys that are in the game throughout, you know, the course of a season, because it's constantly evolving. And I think it's hard to keep up sometimes. I mean, even rule changes are changing year by year by year. I mean, we get a rule thing, it's like this thick long. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of stuff going on. So to be able to teach the fans a little bit, I think is probably my biggest joy doing this. And they really helped me bring that out, you know, whether it's telestrating or whatever, but those guys over there are so good at their jobs and they're so professional. They've really kind of embraced me as the odd man out and, you know, taking me in his family.
Yeah, talking about like the new role that you're transitioning into and what you were just talking about, like the way that the game's changing and stuff, it's going to be interesting to see how you blend in with the guys that are currently there on the booth.
Yeah, I want to, my whole like thought in baseball is I want to blend old school and new school together. I want to make sure that people don't forget, like, hey, you can move a runner over by bunting. You can, you know, have a sac fly. You don't always have to try to launch, but also I want to talk about launch angle. Why is that important? Why is bat speed something that they're completely obsessed with right now? And just kind of intertwine all these analytics with the old school, hard nosed, play the game the right way mindset. Because I think with the analytics, we're seeing a lot of, you know, guys are playing a little bit different. They're, you know, not running as hard down first base. They're not sliding in hard anymore at second base. So it's just a different, you know, mindset and culture within the game. So kind of want to bring it all together and just mesh it. And if I can do that, I feel like I'm doing my job well.
when you were starting to talk about the analytics, like changing things, and you were talking earlier, about like how awesome it feels to see your guy get a shutout. Complete game shutouts, they feel like a thing of the past because of analytics and stuff like that. So
Tell me about it. I know. I mean, a lot has to do with the high spin rate, lot more foul balls, guys swinging for the fences a little bit more. So you have more strikeouts. The pitch count goes up. But I have some good news on that front, because as analytics and biomechanics and kinematics get better, they're going to be able to tell guys, all right, Jameson Taillon, your threshold is at 90 pitches. Your biomechanics and all your flaws start to come out at 90 pitches, where another guy may be 150 pitches. So if he's going well, let him go, right?
Yeah.
Trevor Bauer is a great example with the Reds. I mean, the guy throws 120, 130 pitches. You see him throughout the course of the season. He doesn't start to tear off. He stays the same because he knows his threshold. He's done all these tests. He's figured it out. And that's where baseball is going. He's a little bit ahead of the curve, but that's where the game's going.
He's so smart. He knows, obviously he knows himself better than anybody, but the way that he looks into like what he can do, and yeah, it's awesome. Like it's awesome to see. It sounds weird. It's awesome to see the way that he talks about himself.
Yeah, he loves himself a little bit, but
yeah.
I mean, I think you have to have a little bit of that
for sure,
to be successful. But yes, he does love himself. But I do love the fact that he's always challenging himself. How can I get a little bit better? I want to have a Kyle Crick slider, best slider in baseball. I want to have that slider. So he goes in and reads all the analytics to this slider. What's the horizontal movement, the depth, what's the spin on it? And he goes and he actually throws a slider 7,000 times to try to do this exact same sequence that pitch has. It's unbelievable.
I just thought of something too, because he followed us on Twitter. I'm assuming because he saw you retweet that you were coming on. Do you and Garrett Jones have like a business together or something?
Yeah, we're in a business together. It's called Tailtracks. It's a dog app. It's really cool. It brings a celebration of the dog's life through like social media aspects, but also it brings the health of the dog. I mean, it's really neat. Get on, look at it. You can keep up with your dog's records. We're implementing a health alert system, be the first of its kind, where if my dog, which he's asleep right here.
Is that a Schnauzer, by the way?
Huh?
Is that a Schnauzer?
No, it's a Cavapoo.
Okay.
I call him a Cavastud.
Okay. The beard kind of looked like a Schnauzer. I have one. That's why I asked.
Yeah, he's trying to keep up with you guys. But it's a real-time health alert system. So if my dog gets sick, it'll be an alert to all of his litter mates of what's going on. It's first of its kind, so we're really excited about it.
Wow, that's pretty
You're
cool.
gonna have to shoot Garrett a text and tell him he's got to come on too. Now that he followed us,
I'll get Alex Presley too. Alex Presley's in that business too.
Oh, okay.
Hey, the more
the more the merrier.
Actually, Alex Presley's actually moving back to Pittsburgh. So yeah, we have some more former Buccos living in the Bird.
That's cool.
Awesome. Okay, so we kind of touched on it already. Are we going to see baseball?
Yes, I think so. Manfred actually
I saw that.
released a statement. Yeah, July 10th. I pray that he doesn't mandate it. The fear there is that's going to carry over into 2021 in the negotiations.
Yep.
And we don't want that. I understand playing baseball this year is really important, but losing it this year and starting off on a bad note next year, the game would be changed forever, in my opinion. I think the fans would be sick of it. I think they'd be disgusted by what's going on when we're at a time now where we just got to play. Let's figure it out. I mean, all the other leagues did a really good job on social media. I thought baseball didn't do as good a job. NBA is having shooting contests, playing horse, 3-point contest over Zoom. Of all these different things going on, there wasn't a lot going on with baseball. So I think it's time for them to step up.
Yeah, I mean, people make a lot about it, the marketing aspect, and, their thing has been like grow the game. At this point, it just feels like salvage the game, and then we'll worry about growing it.
Yeah, I would even say just play the game. Let's just play the game.
Yeah.
And I will say this. I am part of that union, so it is a mess. And outside perspective, the optics are absolutely terrible. But reality of it is we had a somewhat of agreement. It's a prorated thing. Like you've stated, this is okay. We're going to do this. Players want to play more games and are willing to take less money. I don't I don't see how that could even be not plausible, in my opinion. We're going to play more. We're going to give you extended playoffs. And the way that works, they get all the TV revenue. Players don't get any of it. They get the gate revenue. So, let's just play. Like the whole money aspect of like, oh, you don't see how much money we're losing. I don't need to see it because over the last 10 years, come on, man.
I was about to ask how you feel. I was about to ask how you feel about that statement from the Cardinals owner.
I mean, proof's in the pudding. I love looking into facts. He bought that team for what, 400 million maybe? It's worth 2.1. I mean, I'm no math genius, but yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's pretty good. So
that's what someone was like, then sell it.
Yeah. I mean, you got all the profit in the world. And I will say this, a lot of guys that do own teams, they do it because they love it, right? Mark Cuban's a great example of that. He didn't buy the team because he can make money. These guys didn't buy a team because, oh, hey, I just want to buy a team because I want this great investment. They buy a team because they have some type of care for the game. If they're trying to make an investment out of it, they're doing a great job, but they've already made a lot of money. You can't buy a team without a lot of money. So their arguments just need to just stop, especially in a time when I'm out of a job because baseball's not going. There's 40 million people out of a job, right? You can't be talking like that, right? Especially when
listen,
$1 billion in your bank account.
They got Jamison Tyon upset. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. I've tried not to get upset, so I'll stay right in my lane right here.
All right. Well, you got any other questions, Tyler?
Yeah, I actually had a couple. Yeah, I had a few that I thought of. So we were talking about old school versus new school, and it kind of brought in my head. What is your opinion on people bat flipping, dancing off the mound, sort of stuff like that, especially as a catcher? If someone just like completely pimps a home run off of your pitcher, like what's your reaction to that, or how do you feel about that?
So there can't be a double standard. If you dance off the mound and the guy bat flips on you, you can't get that mad. But I will say, you got to earn it, right? I think that's maybe an unwritten rule, but if you hit a wall scraper, I mean, don't stand in the box and watch it for 4 minutes. I mean, that's not okay. I mean, that's just, in my opinion, just disrespecting everything, and it's not knowing your pop. We always used to joke about this. Know your pop. So in BP, if you hit a ball and you know it's gone, you should know in a game when it's gone. If it's not gone, you shouldn't be jogging to first base. If I'm a teammate and a guy hits a ball in the gap that has a chance, he ends up getting a single instead of double, we lose the game by 1 run, I'm pissed. Just play the game. If you hit a ball 7,000 feet and you want to walk around the bases, I mean, we'll figure it out after that. But, I think there's a give and take. I think you're going to see guys be more disrespectful if they're disrespected in their minds. But I don't mind it. At first, as a catcher, like it really bothered me. But as long as it's not showing up my pitcher, it's more of just a fun thing. I can live with it.
Yeah, we always talked about where it's like if you can't like get mad at someone bat flipping if someone dances on the mound, but exactly. We also said like if they we don't know how they can get mad about it if you're the one that just let up the home run. Like how mad can you be if someone just accidentally clobbered one off you? But I actually had another question, and this pertains to your playing career. And I was curious, how do I ask this? Who is the best pitcher you ever went against? And who was the hardest person for you to get out as a catcher?
Ooh, good questions. I'll tell you before I even go there, my favorite at bat catching was Joey Votto. And the reason is he keeps up with his stats with catchers. And I think he was 0 for 14 or 0 for 15 against me. And I will never forget, he said, "Today is the day." He walked up to the plate, hit me on the shin. I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I'm 0 for 20 or something, whatever it was, when you're catching. Today's the day." So his first at bat, he hits a broken bat single or something like that. There's like a little nubber. And he came back up and he's like, "I did it." And I was like, "You really going to take that? You really going to take that? Come on, you're the best hitters in the game. You're going to take that?" And he got so frustrated at me. I think he ended up striking out that at bat, and I think he had a double later on. Actually, got that hit, but that was one of my favorite at bats. But so going back to probably the best guy I faced, and it probably has to do more with the day he was pitching than anything else. But I faced Verlander when he got that one hitter in Detroit, and then another time, Porcello. Same thing. We're in Detroit, and I think it was 2012. I mean, his ball was, I don't know if it's just to me, but his ball was moving this much, starting the left-handed batter's box, coming on the corner. He was unbelievable that day. So, like, I always think about that experience. I remember facing Holiday, Lee, Hamels, 3 consecutive days. That was miserable. I didn't mind facing those guys, but they just don't miss. And, you know, when they're not making mistakes, you're having to kind of cover a different zone. That makes it really hard. So those are probably my guys. There's certain guys that's weird in this game, man. Like Chapman was a guy I like to face. Greinke was a guy I like to face. Kershaw was a guy I like to face. It just depended on the guy. I don't know necessarily why, but some guys I liked. And there's some guys you've never even heard of that dominated me. I mean, it's just part of the game. It's really strange. What was the second part of that question?
The second part, yeah. So the second part was, who was the hardest batter to get out when you were catching?
You know, honestly, Josh Harrison.
Really?
First time I ever played against him at 4 for 4. And like, I was like, I'm not really sure what to do here, because he was a bad ball hitter. And, you know, I faced him in the minor leagues, not in the big leagues. So I had a lot of guys with stuff that they maybe couldn't locate. And the way to get Josh Harrison out is to tie him up in and then really try to make him, you know, chase away. And I could not get any of those pitches in there. And I feel like every single time he touched the bat, a ball was just ricocheting off the fence. And Jay Hay going a million miles around the base, it's a double, it's a triple. But yeah, I would say he was one of the hardest guys to get out when I was playing. Neil Walker was a really fun at bat too, because he was a guy that really thought about what he wanted to do. So you had to kind of figure out, all right, what's he thinking? What's he probably sitting on? And then play against it. Now that cat and mouse game is awesome.
So how much preparation did you have, like studying the batters and like knowing their tendencies before the game?
A bunch. I enjoyed it. And I think that's why I've really enjoyed what I'm doing now, because hold on one second. Sorry, he was whining. I spent a lot of time doing it, and I always try to look for something a little bit off, you know. Like, for example, one thing I remember is Adrian Gonzalez was 1 for 38 against breaking balls, and he never hit a breaking ball. I can't remember if it was 2-0 or 1-0 in his entire career. Breaking ball. So every time we got 2-0, I'd throw a breaking ball. I mean, just little things like that was a lot of fun. So that's kind of where I fell in love with figuring out, you know, how's this guy going to approach my guy? What's he trying to do? But the most important thing is I wanted to pitch to my guy's strength no matter what. I'm actually going to take back my Jay Hay statement and say Miguel Cabrera. He actually told Prince Fielder that he was going to hit a homer to right field and then at bat as he was walking the plate, and I heard it. I'm like, no, you're not. There's no way. Homer to right field.
Called a shot.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, hey, Poppy, I'm going to hit a homer to right field.
Dude, at his best. What a player.
What a player, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably, I would say he's definitely one of the best players I've seen in person.
Like him, Albert.
He doesn't have a lot of holes. Like, I mean, Albert was, you had a way to get Albert out. You have a way to get Trout out. Cabrera was really tough because he handled the whole box. I mean, top of the zone, bottom of the zone, inside, outside. He handled everything. So it was really tough to kind of come up with a game plan against him. And when he was on, good luck. Don't pitch to him. It was the best thing you could do.
You just gave us a Twitter clip right there too, because now I'm going to use that. I can clickbait it as well. Miguel Cabrera greater than Albert Pujols and Mike Trout.
Oh, whoa.
I'm kidding. But anyway, all right, Tyler, you don't have anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, Michael, we can't thank you enough for joining the show. We really appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you in your new role on AT&T Sports. You're sharing the duties. It's like Kevin Young and Matt Capps were also brought on.
Yeah, and I'll still be doing AT&T pre and post. I mean, that's
Okay.
that's my real thing. And then the
gotcha.
broadcasting is kind of like a trial run for all of us, and then kind of
Okay.
play from there.
So it's an
I hope
extended.
they keep that balance. I mean, I think it's a different perspective pretty consistently, so maybe they'll keep it.
So it's an extended role, not a completely new thing. They're just extending your duties.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Michael, once again, we thank you for coming on. Maybe we can do this again someday. But other than that, we look forward to seeing you on AT&T Sports, and take care.
All right, guys. I appreciate it, and I'd love to do it again. God bless you.
Hopefully sooner than later.
Amen. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Anytime.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It was, yeah. You guys are a lot of fun. If you want to do it again sometime,
Thanks.
let me know. All right.
Yeah,
See?
hopefully towards Pirate season.
Yes. Hopefully in a couple weeks. All right. See you guys.
See ya.
Okay. So with the way that we have this week set up, we obviously have Chris Wormley of the Steelers coming on here in just 2 days. So we'll save the NFL portion of the show until then. So we're just going to talk some baseball and the few things to talk about in hockey. So it's going to be a little bit shorter of an episode. Saturday will also be a little bit shorter, but I mean, you combine those two and they're going to be longer than a regular episode would have been. So, but anyway, thanks again for coming on, Michael McKenry. That was awesome. He's definitely the type of guy that I can tell is just like a regular guw who just happened to also have a career as a professional athlete.
Yeah, for sure.
I felt like we just had like one of our friends on.
Yeah, a little older, but yeah.
Hey, age is but a number.
Yeah, but I agree though. He's super chill dude, very energetic when he talks, which is I think definitely why the Pirates would want him as an analyst. I mean, you can just tell by having a conversation with him. He loves what he does. He loves talking baseball. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I love how like every single time, no matter what guest, no matter how many questions we prepare, we're always going to have like, whether it's me, we have questions at the end that we just think of randomly. And most of the time it's multiple of them. Like I was just thinking of that. Like, I wonder what he thought of bat flips because he was a catcher and it happened like right in front of him. So like, yeah.
That's why I shouldn't even be worried if I feel like we have like a lack of questions, because we're going to end up coming up with like 3 or 4 more as we go through the show.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even ask him because you like went ahead so quickly. I mean, I could have stopped you, but I didn't want to. But I wanted to ask him how loud the stadium was from like a player perspective on the Russell Martin home run after the Cueto drop.
Yeah, I mean that whole moment. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean you were back in the stands. I wanted to know like
field level though.
How loud was it on the field? That's what I want to know. Next time he's on, we'll ask him.
Okay. So there are a couple more things in baseball, though. I feel like we've kind of tied those into the conversation with him. Manfred said there will be baseball in 2020. Now, to my knowledge, based off Jeff Passan being on the Pat McAfee show. Yes, I'm talking about the Pat McAfee show on here again. Because I want that to be what Around the 412 eventually becomes. So let's get some more sponsors in here. Let's really get this thing rolling. But anyway, Jeff Passan was on there, and he said, and the way that he was talking about it is like Rob Manfred, if he wants to, can implement, like baseball has to come back. You cannot go on to a strike in the middle of the CBA. So really, the MLB could say, this is what we're doing, and the players have to go along with it. And that's what Michael was saying would be kind of negotiating in bad faith, because you have the CBA that expires after next season. If you do this now and just make these players play when they don't want to, going forward, I don't see how they're going to be able to come to an agreement. They're going to look back on that and like, that's what I'm saying, negotiating in bad faith. The players are not going to want to agree to a new deal so shortly after something like this happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to like if they're pissing off like the owners and stuff, but like if you're pissing off the players, those are the people that make the league money in general. Like that's who's actually playing the game. So I really hope it doesn't affect next season, because that's the worst case scenario is that that's for any of the sports, whether it's football, basketball, hockey, baseball, it doesn't matter. Any of the sports that get affected by next season, like that's just going to further the effects of the later season. It's just going to keep going. It's like a ripple effect. So just keep it in 2020. But do it in, I guess, a responsible way. And don't just like piss off the players. I want them to,
even if it means them not playing this season, I would rather have that happen than them force the players to play.
Yeah, I think that's a much smarter thing to do than just having like what was what they proposed, 83 game season or 81?
The MLB?
Yeah, weren't they?
Oh, I don't know.
Or Manfred, or I thought I saw someone saying like an.
The
80.
latest is the Player Association proposing 89.
Oh, okay.
So that would be with 89 games, full prorated, expanded playoffs for this year and next, and opt-out rights for all players. Which the MLB, I don't think that they officially declined that, but they are pretty much expected to. But from what I'm seeing,
I wonder if they'll even look at it.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing from like the Bob Nightingales of the world, and I mentioned Jeff Passan already, is that this is at least closer. But at the same time, we're running out of time. They said last week was kind of going to be the make or break week for baseball. Here we are a full week later. Nothing's happening. I'm sure nothing's going to happen this weekend. Yeah. So, I think it's kind of time to just put this season on the back burner. Let's focus on 2021. As bad as that sounds. But like I said, I feel like focusing on 2021 right now and, at least opening up some communication for a new CBA, that is better than making these guys go out here and play in 2020 when they don't want to, and then trying to get a new deal done after 2021, because I just don't see that happening if that's the case.
I agree with you, because the higher priority should be starting fresh on 2021.
Big picture here. You can't look small picture, just 2020.
Yes, starting fresh on 2021, where baseball is normal, and it's kind of like 2020 just never happened. I mean, and literally, it wouldn't happen if that's the case. But you don't even think about it. That is what the league should be aiming for, because you don't want to affect future seasons. Because the more you affect like one next season, it's going to affect the other and the other, and it's just going to keep going. You don't want that. You want baseball to stay the same. So. I mean, so does the league want to play like less games and the players want to play more games? Is that what they're disagreeing on?
Yeah, I think so. I think that the MLB, is talking like half of what the players are proposing.
Because they proposed like 40. The MLB played 48. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, in my personal opinion, I think that would be fun. From a fan
they say it's a marathon, not a sprint. Well, not if 48 games happens in the MLB. It's a sprint.
Yeah. So I think from a fan perspective, that would be amazing. However, as a player, I understand why they declined that.
So I'll say I like the idea of it for one season because it would be fun. I wouldn't want that to be the case all the time, though. I also I also think 162 might be a little long. I don't mind the idea of shortening the season, and maybe like this happening opens up the conversation for that to happen. I think 48 games is too low in general. For one season, it will be fun if that's what happens. And I think
if they have to, I mean, you're starting the season. We're in June already, so you're starting the season late anyway. But if it's 48 games from right now, that would be awesome.
Essentially, we're about a month from when the All-Star break would be. I mean,
yeah.
And that's probably about
Super 2 would be in like a week.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
it's a lot of confusing stuff.
But the draft did go on as scheduled. And the Pirates draft picks, they're getting pretty high praise for their picks so far. We know that the MLB draft's kind of a crapshoot. And obviously these guys are going to spend some time in the minors before they ever make their major league debut. If that should even be with the Pirates, who knows? But this Nick Gonzalez that they would go with in the first round, 7th overall. From what I was seeing, a lot of guys thought he was going to go top 5. We knew the number 1 pick was going to be Spencer Torkelson from Arizona State. But after that, it was kind of up in the air. This guy falling to number 7, I saw him on most mocks somewhere 3 to 5. And I think if he had the ability to play shortstop, he would have gone 3 to 5, but most people think he's going to transition into a second baseman. The dude can rake. I mean, he hit almost 500 last year before the season got shut down in just 16 games. But People are talking about the elevation that he plays with, playing at New Mexico State. Obviously, he doesn't play with a wooden bat, so he goes to the Cape Cod League and hits 351 with an on-base percentage close to 500. I mean, the dude is going to be able to hit. I think that part of his game is going to transition. Obviously, nothing's a lock, but I think that this kid is going to be, at the very least, a solid major leaguer. But I really do think the traits are there for him to be, a perennial all-star player.
Yeah, I think this pick is awesome. I mean, just looking at his stat lines, this year is kind of a wash just because he only played 16 games, but still, he had a 610 on-base percentage in those 16 games.
God.
I mean,
I do want to chime in one thing because we're talking about his stats. If you want, throw the stats out the window. Watch his swing. His swing is beautiful.
Yeah, it's smooth. It's sweet. But like going off of last year, which he played 42 games, like a more full season, his on-base percentage was still 451. I mean, if that can translate, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Take like 50 points off and it's still remarkable.
Yeah. I mean, every year he's had an OPS of above 1, and this year it was 1.7 before this season stopped. That's insane.
That's the thing too. He has pop, whether hopefully that translates as he continues to use a wooden bat, but he doesn't really look like a guy that would have that much pop in his bat. Maybe I guess it's more due to his swing because he's not like a big looking dude, but that bat speed, that's where, Andrew McCutchen wasn't a big looking dude, but it's the bat speed that was able to give him the ability to hit 30 plus homers.
Yeah.
And this kid's going to hit 30 plus homers any day, but
in those 16 games, by the way, this year, he had 12 home runs.
Yeah.
That's nuts. But it wasn't his I saw a player comp of him, Dustin Pedroia.
Really?
I saw Dustin
The
Pedroia.
one that I saw that I really liked
and
was
Josh Harrison.
Of the Brewers.
Oh, really? Okay. I also saw Josh Harrison.
I mean, if we're talking,
okay. So I actually think the tweet that I said, Josh Harrison was, I think it was his fielding was Josh Harrison and his batting was Dustin Pedroia.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I saw people throwing around Keston here, which I was like very excited about because I really like him. I know that he's kind of just still coming up, but I think he's a stud.
I mean, I'm excited either way. Top 10
we're going to try to get him on here, obviously, to continue the tradition. We'll give him a couple days to enjoy it. And, I don't know what the signing process is going to be like for these guys with everything that's going on either. So,
this year we have 2 first-round picks.
Yeah. The other one does not have any social media. He maybe, now that but I don't know if you saw he did that media Zoom. He's a throwback guy. He's got like an iPhone 5. He listens to grunge. Yeah. So he definitely doesn't seem like the type of guy that would be into something like this. I mean, that's whatever. That's completely fine. I get it. It's not, I don't take it personally. It's funny that like I immediately when we draft him, I go to like try to see his Instagram or Twitter. Doesn't have either.
I mean, that's just triggering for you probably.
I don't know how his name is pronounced. Carmen Blodzinski.
I'm not even going to attempt.
Yeah.
I have no idea how it's pronounced. I have to watch a video. Maybe like on some highlights, they'll say his name, but I have no idea just looking at it, how they say it.
Well, yeah, we'll find out probably sooner rather than later. But and then today, so far from what I saw, they may have made another pick since then. But when I did the list, they selected Jared Jones, a pitcher. He's a high school pitcher out of California who currently is committed to Texas. So we will see if the Pirates are able to sign him and make him forego that commitment. We were talking about it on here. We've seen them sign guys in the second round and give them essentially money as if they were selected in the first round. For all the people that the Pirates don't spend in free agency and stuff, we get it. They don't. We talked about it openly in here, but they're willing to spend in the draft. That's where they do spend money. They always go well above slot value, or at least are willing to. But this year, I think the process could be a little different. We saw a lot of teams go with guys under slot value, maybe guys they don't plan on signing. Cleveland took Carson Tucker, Cole Tucker's brother, 23rd overall, who was a strong commit to Texas as well. And I don't think that they have plans to sign him. I think that the idea is we're going to lose out on him, and then we'll get the comp pick next year. And when we get the whole process and aren't having this pandemic to deal with. The Red Sox took a guy that was just inside the top 200 players, a high school second baseman. So he probably wasn't. He was probably sitting there, got a phone call. He's like, what?
Yeah, I mean, the whole MLB draft is like it's like a weird thing just because players can opt to not sign with the team and like go to college. But I mean, you add in the pandemic this year, and the draft is a weird process. Like drafting someone just to get a comp, knowing they're not going to sign just to get a comp pick is like a weird idea. But I mean, if it works, it works.
Yeah, I don't know. Different. But anyway, like I said, they were very high in the Pirates draft. I saw USA Today, or I believe it was USA Today. Maybe it was Baseball America. One of them had Jarrett Jones as their top sleeper of the draft. Like I said, Nick Gonzalez was anywhere from like 3 to 7, ranked. And then Carmen, we're going to go with Mlodzinski for this episode. Might change by the next one. But he was projected to go somewhere around 20, and he falls to 31, our comp pick. So, I think that obviously these guys, we're not going to have the answer to what they are for years down the road. But as we sit here, one day after we've picked them, it looks like a pretty decent first draft for Ben Cherington, and he's getting high remarks for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing. Good, it's just a good sign. Even though we don't have baseball going on, the draft is at least a good sign of the organization so far with their new administration. Even
though no move that they make will top bringing the script back. So
yeah, that's true. That's probably the best move of 2020 the Pirates have done so far.
And with no tie on.
For those just listening, Smitty is showing off his.
Wasn't even thinking about that. Wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah, he's showing off his Mitch Keller jersey.
Yeah, I got a gray script Mitch Keller jersey. I went with a gray for Mitch Keller and the black for the Brian Reynolds. With Archer being shut down for the year, Time being shut down the year, if we do get baseball this year, Mitch Keller extended role on this team.
Yeah, I mean, who's without Tyon and Archer? Who's your number one?
Musgrove.
Yeah,
probably.
He's gotta be.
Unless Keller lives up to the hype, right away this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or like Trevor Williams goes back to like second half 2018 Trevor Williams.
Yeah. I mean, I
don't see it, but
I think he's a middle to back end of the rotation arm. But yeah, that second half of 2018 was ridiculous.
Like a .76 ERA or something like that.
Made no sense.
Yep.
You know what? He's in large part guilty for that Archer trade.
You think so?
He doesn't pitch the way that he does. I mean, they probably lose somewhere in those 11 games.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So the trade was after that 11-game streak?
Yeah, it was right after.
Yeah? Huh. Dan, screw that team. So with the script jersey, this has nothing to do with the sport, by the way. Script jersey, who should I get? Because I want one, but I feel like there's not many players that are safe.
I mean, the two that I got, I was like, I think that they'll be here for at least 4 years.
Yeah,
and that's.
I mean, Reynolds is the obvious pick to me, but I didn't know if there's any other players that you think anyone listening, if you want to tweet me with an idea.
I'd almost wait until Ke'Bryan came up.
Oh, that's true. I wonder because I want to know it. Well, actually, what number is he going to have? He
switched to 13 this spring training.
Does anyone have 13 on the Pirates?
No, I mean, because Hurdle wore it last year, and then.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Well, I'm just like thinking like if he comes up and his number's like 78,
77? He was 77.
Or 77. Yeah. I was like, I don't want to get that jersey because it's like guaranteed he's gonna switch it.
Cody Coleman said Bell. We know that he's getting traded. All right.
I have a Bell jersey, and I know he's gonna be gone. And then if he's not gone this year, which we don't even know if it's gonna happen, it's probably gonna be happen next year or after next season or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a tough time to think about.
Yeah. Brian Hayes' hat, 77's right there. Yeah. His spring training hat last year.
It is. Okay, so a couple things in the NHL before we wrap up here. But first, I said on Twitter that I wanted to, get more involved with the Pittsburgh community, obviously with everything that's going on. I saw that a lot of people that are like in media and have some type of platform were doing this. And I know that we don't have the biggest platform, but it's, at least a way of showing that we care because we do. So what we're going to start doing is if anybody whatever, reach out to us on Twitter just tweet at us, DM us. We have our email on our Twitter now. So you can just email us if you want. If you or anybody are a Black-owned business in the Pittsburgh area, we want to start giving you guys free marketing, advertising, however you want to look at it. We'll talk about you on the show. We'll talk about you on our social media platforms, completely free of charge. We just want to talk about you, try to drive some business to you guys. So I want to tell you guys about 9 Cafe, which is located at 900 Wood Street in Wilkinsburg, PA. So anybody near Wilkinsburg or willing to take the drive to Wilkinsburg, this place has very close to 5 stars. So it's awesome. They are known for something called the Great Beyond, which the name alone is just pulling me in. But then you start to read it. This is definitely sounds very good for other people, but everybody knows how picky I am. So don't go based off what I say. All right.
Yeah. Smitty's food taste sucks. I'll just flat out say it.
So this is grilled chicken, but not just grilled chicken. It's honey mustard grilled chicken.
Do you like honey mustard?
I do not.
Amateur.
Rice and vegetables. And they also have something called, if you're vegan, they have vegan options. The fat vegan, rice, peppers, onions, and broccoli with red curry. Something called a pineapple bowl. I don't even know what that is.
Pineapple bowl? I love pineapple. Pineapple is my favorite fruit, by the way.
It's a fresh cut pineapple stuffed with shredded chicken, vegetables, and rice with a teriyaki sauce on top of it.
Oh, that actually sounds so good.
Apparently, when you go there, the only thing that you are allowed to get to drink, they have fresh squeezed lemonade.
That's the only thing you're allowed to get?
No, that's like the way people make it seem like you're a weirdo. Oh. It's like going down south and not getting sweet tea.
It's like going to Taco Bell and not getting Baja Blast.
Right. Yeah, very comparable.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is 9 Cafe, which is located at 900 Wood Street in Wilkinsburg, PA. Sarge is right. The Louisiana Chicken Shack will be next episode shout out. We'll talk more about them on the next episode. I'll give you more information about them. But anyway, 9 Cafe, 900 Wood Street in Wilkinsburg, PA. Go check them out. So
it sounds actually, you made me hungry. that pineapple dish made me hungry.
Yeah. The NHL, we are in phase 2. Players are skating at facilities. They're working out. The Penguins social media team is really pushing it. I don't know if they're hiding behind windows taking these videos or what they're doing, because that's what it looks like is happening. But anyways, I'm getting excited. Jake Densel's been on the ice for a couple of weeks now. He's probably been his dad's a hockey coach. Is it Minnesota?
Yes, I think.
Wherever his dad's a coach, I'm sure he's been there.
Yes, it is, because Kessel went to Minnesota, and Gensel knew Kessel when he was younger. Yep.
Okay. So anyway, Gensel, I mean, it's not a certainty, I guess, that he's going to be ready to roll in the NHL season does come back, but, let's be honest. It's kind of like Sullivan calling somebody a game time decision. Like,
yeah, I mean, we were thinking like maybe there's a chance he could come back in April or May if the season was still going on. So he's definitely coming back. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind.
Yeah. Now, have you seen anything? So somebody told me, because obviously I don't listen to him and I don't listen to anybody that's part of like the Pittsburgh media or radios, like the radio shows. Mark Madden was apparently talking about the Canadians. And I guess that they're like, because Canada is so different, like they're not even doing anything right there.
Yeah, yeah. So so last night Sarge mentioned that to me. I had no idea, but he said, I'm assuming you're talking about where like they're not working out or anything like that. There's only like 2 of them that's in Montreal, and so they'd have to go in like cold and just like not even worked out or anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
so, like they're talking, like Mark Madden was making it seem like, you're going to see a lot of that. These teams that feel like, they're not even going to be there. They just show up, play their 3 games, lose 3 games, and then they head home because they didn't even expect to be there or want to be there anyway.
Hey, I mean, I'll take a forfeit. like Sarge said last night when we were talking, like he said he would rather play in the first round, like to not go in cold to like the second round.
That's what, like Steve Mears said.
Well. Yeah, but at the same time, if a team's going to forfeit, I mean, I'll take it. It's an automatic win to the second round. But that I don't know why you don't like get your players back to Montreal. Like, if there's only 2 of them there, why don't you tell them to come back? Like, what's stopping them? I guess is it Canada rules that we don't know about?
I'm not sure where they're at, and I probably should look into that. Yeah, if there's anybody in the YouTube chat right now,
Because I mean,
typing us.
I know that we've mentioned before that Canada's been stricter on their rules when it comes to coronavirus, and that's why we didn't think that Toronto, Edmonton, or Vancouver would be a hub city.
That's what I was about to say. Is they were still being mentioned as hub cities, which made me think like, okay, maybe they are, kind of getting right along with the U.S.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously they're not. If Montreal's not doing this, that doesn't really make sense to me as to why they would do that as a team. But on the side note, seeing players do just normal drills like we've seen thousands of times in videos and live in person, seeing that on my Twitter timeline made me so happy yesterday. Like seeing Crosby and Malkin just do normal, simple drills. It was so refreshing to see hockey practice.
Stubb said Canada's on Locky Lock. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and they're actually, as of 12 hours ago, U.S. and Canada are considering extending the border closure until late July.
So, depending on when the league starts, the Canadians might not even be able to get here.
Like, what about the Leafs?
I don't know.
Winnipeg. What about all the teams there? Like,
I don't know what they do. Like, would they have like an exception for an NHL team?
You know what? Like, if the WWE can be deemed an essential business, why can't the NHL?
Yeah, I mean, WWE, they even know the outcomes already. We so I see your point.
And the only reason that is Vince McMahon and Trump are very close, and Linda McMahon, I believe, actually works for Trump, so they have the ties there.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what your feelings on Trump are, I feel like it's hilarious watching him on like those old WWE clips or WWF or whatever it was back then. Like it's so funny that is like someone that was on WWE is our president. But I don't know what Canadian teams are going to do if they close the borders. I feel like they should still be able to come. Like teams should be able to come. Maybe not people, but like there should be an exception for NHL teams.
Yeah. So one of the things Stubbs said here, I knew about. Say you went to Canada, you're automatically quarantined for 14 days, no matter what. But he also said sports teams can travel. And I see here 2 hours ago, Canadian teams expect good news about federal quarantine policy.
Huh. So
this is just it's weird.
Yeah, I mean it's just we don't even know how to react to it because we've never seen anything like it. I feel like we say that every show.
I'm going insane at this point.
We say that every show, but it's true. We have no idea how to react to half the stuff that is happening all the time. But I mean, it sucks to suck, Canada. Like that's all I have to say.
Would the NHL just continue?
If without Canadian teams?
Yeah.
Honestly, probably not, because if you're looking at a TV market, that's like probably at least half of your market. If you're looking at USA and Canada combined, even though the majority of teams are from the United States, I would guess that the TV market is still the majority Canadian. Because I feel like even if their team is out of it, they'll probably watch just because it's hockey.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think the NHL would start without the Canadian teams.
I mean, that's a good portion of the teams too. It's not.
I mean, how many Canadian teams are in? Is it like 4?
Edmonton, Winnipeg, Montreal, Vancouver.
Oh, Vancouver made it in. So that's 5. 5 out of the 7. Yeah. Did Calgary get in or Calgary.
No? I'm pretty sure Calgary's there.
Dude, imagine being the Senators. Freaking Chris Kunitz ended their whole career. So yeah, 6 out of the 7 teams from Canada.
Vancouver. So
Yeah. Okay. So 6 out of the 7 teams making playoffs from Canada, they're definitely not starting without Canadian teams if it comes to that. It's weird because we don't know how to react to any of this. I keep saying that, but
True. Yeah. I mean, so camp, they put out the statement it's supposed to start July 10th.
yeah. Do we know how long that is? Is it just going to be like kind of short, like a week and a half or 2 weeks max?
Well, if they're talking about July, the last week of July for games as of right
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, I guess it would be like a week and a half.
Although their official statement says that they'll, at a later date, put out when they plan to restart play. I think that is widely considered. It's going to be like July 30th, July 31st, right along with the NBA.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to Montreal, what I don't get is that Sarge told me that there's only like 2 players that are in Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can none of their players get there? I mean, I know there's not just 2 Canadians on that team. Can they not go to Montreal?
If they're already in the U.S., I don't know.
But like, I don't think. I mean, you carry on your roster, you carry like 23 players. You're telling me that 21 are not in Canada. Like, you can't get to Montreal. That's what I don't understand.
Maybe they're there. Is it definitely that they're not in Montreal, or is it they?
Well, that's just what he told me. I have no idea. But like, I would just find it hard to believe that like 21 players can't get to Montreal.
That's the point that I was making about them, like, just kind of packing it in. Maybe the guys are there, and as a team, they're just saying like, we don't even want to do it. Like,
yeah, I mean, if that's the case, then whatever, give us the dub. But you're either going to get swept in 3 or you forfeit. Pick one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I like I said, we're going to talk about the NFL Saturday morning, 11 a.m. We're going to have new Steelers defensive lineman Chris Wormley come on. That's going to be
traded from the
awesome.
Ravens. So
Yeah,
I'm interested to see what his thoughts on that are.
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously like first question that pops in my mind. He grew up a Steelers fan as well. So
really, where's he from? Do you know?
Toledo.
Okay.
So to be drafted, he's from Toledo, went to Michigan. To be drafted by the Ravens, he was actually on another show. I listened, just to make sure we didn't ask the exact same questions and stuff. He said when you are drafted, you don't even think about like I'm now on my favorite team's rival. Like, it's just such a thrill to even be drafted.
Yeah.
You don't even think about that. But he did have a Big Ben jersey.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wonder if he still has it.
I don't think he does.
No.
He says he wouldn't be able to find it because I think they asked if he was going to get it autographed.
Oh, okay.
And he said, I don't think I'd be able to find it. So
that's funny.
Sarge is saying only 2 of the players reside in Montreal.
Okay, reside in Montreal. So the only 2 live in Montreal, but you're still telling me that the people that live in Canada can't get there? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Also, speaking of Sarge, we mentioned him multiple times in the past like 15 minutes.
Yeah, we gotta stop.
Yeah, shout out to Jenny. She asked for a shout out. So, Jenny Bryan, shout out to you.
Hold on. Unless we're gonna start getting some money in from JCPenney's hair salon or whatever, then we gotta put an end to this.
JCPenney's is shutting, actually.
I know, I saw that.
That sucks.
I actually buy a lot of my clothes there.
That's what I said too. Is that a lot of my clothes are JCPenney's.
It's like
this shirt came from JCPenney's.
Yeah.
Even my sports shirts.
I will give a shout out to our actual sponsor, which is Keeks Barbershop, which is reopening his actual barbershop tomorrow. Keeks Barbershop is an old-fashioned barbershop. It's located at 180 Brighton Avenue in Rochester, PA. Every Tuesday, he does $5 off for military personnel, first responders, and nurses. He's open 11 to 7 Tuesday through Friday and 9 to 4 on Saturday. Like I said, his barbershop is actually going to be able to be back open tomorrow. It was pretty wild to be able to
pretty exciting news.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we've been talking about him on here and having to say, oh, he's not even actually open right now. We're just going to keep talking about him. Now we can actually have a sponsor that has a business to go to. So Keats Barbershop, 180 Brighton Avenue, Rochester, PA. This has been Around the 412. Once again, thanks to Michael McKenry. Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Chris Wormley will be here along with Tyler and I. Until then, Around the 412, part of the Pod Up Network. And we'll talk to you guys then. Bye-bye.
Peace.